go far.
All right, let's move straight to our final conversation. The Senate will, upon full resumption from its Yuletide recess, prioritize the consideration and passage of the Constitution Review Bills, amendments to the Electoral Act, and this year's appropriation bill. Sources stated that three major national issues would dominate the Senate's agenda upon full resumption. The report of the Senate Ad hoc Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution is amended, the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, and the consideration and passage of this year's budget. The report was initially scheduled for consideration before the Senate proceeded on recess, but was deferred due to the presentation of the 2026 budget by President Bola Tinubu, which the Senate has already passed for second reading. Also listed as a priority is the amendment of the 2022 Electoral Act, which lawmakers said has become urgent ahead of 2027 general elections. I mean, BKO, Constitution Review, the Electoral Act Amendment, and the 2026 budget will top the Senate's agenda when they resume plenary tomorrow. tomorrow. But talk to me, what are your expectations?
Yeah, on January 27, the Senate will. Can you tell them to get the person who is on Zoom now off? Or can you tell the producer to do that?
All right,
okay.
Mika, go ahead.
Okay. Now, what I'm saying is that Senator Godia Akwashiki, who died during the recess, will be honored on the 27th of January. So once they are done with that, substantial legislative work will begin. And this legislative work will see the National Assembly prioritizing constitutional review bills. The Senate has as the head of that committee the Deputy Senate President, Senator Barau from Kano State. He is going to present the work that they have done for the consideration of the National Assembly. People have demanded for certain portions of the Constitution to be amended. So they've done some work in that area. The committee headed by Senator Barau. So it will be presented for consideration. The changes that they have made will be presented for consideration and eventual passage. So that will be the most crucial thing that the National Assembly will be doing immediately they resume. And apart from that, the National Assembly would also be working on the appropriation bill for this year. We have lost valuable time on account of that, but we see them begin to do some work in that area. And of course, the Electoral Act. Before any election, there has to be an Electoral Act that will govern that election. So it is important for the National Assembly to move quickly so that what happened some time ago during the time of President Buhari will not happen, whereby assent to changes to the Electoral Act took a lot of time, took so much time before we got assent. So they will be working hard on the Electoral Act as well. As you heard, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has already challenged them that they should work on the Electoral Act so that nobody can rig an election with it. Atiku knows what it means for an election to be rigged, because the PDP, his party, routinely rigged the election for years in our country. Now he's in the opposition and he's saying, no, the Electoral Act has to be worked on so that it can be impossible for people to rig an election. I'm happy for us to have, to continue to work on our electoral processes so that we can have elections that we can hold high, even in our continent, so that we can be proud of elections that INEC comes up with. So we will see a lot of work in that area, including public hearings, where people can make their contributions to the Electoral Act that we are going to have to govern the 2027 election. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know that the Senate will be very busy once they are back, because the elections are just a little over a year from now. And we all know that even in the last quarter of 2026, people will be focused on campaigns, they'll be focused on how to win the election. Not much work will be done at that time, even by governors and by National Assembly members. So it's better for them to ramp up the work now before it gets to that point when everybody will be busy with campaigning, when everybody will be busy with the primaries of their party and all that.
I mean, Nigerians will be watching closely to see if this process goes beyond talk. But now that they're going to be resuming tomorrow, what are your expectations, looking at these three top priorities of the Senate?
Yeah, my expectations are that they should realize that they should work, more. They should work more speedily. The 2026 budget, they need to do more work on it. Remember, that we have a carryover. We're having a carryover of 2024, 2025. So that means more work on the budget so that the 2026 budget doesn't go the way of those budgets. Then in terms of, the Electoral Act, Nigerian politicians are a very funny breed of people. Look at certain things that were done, by the previous National Assembly in cleaning up the Electoral Act. Fresh challenges have come up, So you see that, like Bikio said, we'll still need to keep, refining the Electoral Act. And they should do something. They should also do some quick work on the Constitution. Very, very important. Because, look at, time is moving very fast. Before you know what's happening, once INEC releases its calendar now, releases the calendar for the 2027 elections, then you just expect that politics will take front burner and governance will take the back seats. So the earlier we can sort out issues of governance, critical, issues of governance that, are carried over from last year, the better for us.
Your thought here?
So, for me, these are the core responsibilities of this arm of government. So a lot depends on it. If they are doing their review, these three issues are things they will mention. If you recall, the first term of Buhari, because they didn't get on the Electoral Act on time, and except they changed the Senate rules, if they don't get all these things signed, whatever effort, especially the constitutional review, whatever effort, whatever things they've done, if this is not signed and put into law, it will be afresh in the next assembly. So like I said, except they've changed that. So the more reason why they should be...
They now carry over,
Exactly. So it is the more reason why they should start now, so that we get this thing out of the table. It's important that, because these three key issues are very important. You recall what happened in the last assembly. By the time they touched the Electoral Act, that's why the likes of Amici had to resign as a minister. It was one of those amendments they did before he could contest as a president. Trust me, those people would have loved to still be operating as a minister and also be operating as this. So a whole lot depends on the Electoral Act amendment, and much more depends on the Constitution amendment, which is their core responsibility.
Talking about the Constitution amendment, do you think it's good, for the Senate to set a timeline?
Yes, so that's one of the reasons why they should do it before
the
election campaign begins. Like you said, I do not expect that this government should go the way of the past government, where they
Okay.
put governance into the back seat. Nigerians elected them to serve for 4 years. So they shouldn't deny us governance, all in the name of wanting to be re-elected, both at the state, the federal, and even the local government. They must remember that governance should not take the back seat. Even if it may not be a very perfect example. You recall how Wike was doing his own. It was commissioning project. It was commissioning project, even though that was a political strategy. So let there be governance going on while you are canvassing for vote, because the best way to canvass for vote is to keep governance at the front burner.
And showing that, oh, you're working.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
because if you are telling us to vote for you and we can't see what you have done in the last 4 years, it will be counterproductive. So I believe these three things are key. The budget, for the fact that, okay, the last one still has till March, I guess, but please, whatever is in the 2026 budgets are different from the carryover.
That's true.
And we should be able to have, if possible, 80 to 90% budget performance at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
Because I doubt whether we can do 100%.
All right, Bike, our time is almost up, but in rounding off your thoughts, what are your final takeaways here?
Yes, Nigerians are looking forward to the amendment to the Constitution. Everyone knows that our Constitution is not a perfect document. It was given to us by the military, literally forced on us. So there are many things that they have discovered shouldn't be the case, you know. So we are hoping, for example, the Southeast, they've always demanded for an extra state, at least. The Northwest has 7 states, whereas the Southeast has 5. This is an injustice that we believe that the Constitution amendment will address. And I'm looking forward to an extra state that is going to be added to the Southeast. And other reviews that
the
they have
state police,
deliberated on.
local government.
Yes, state police. These things will take quite some time because you need concurrence, but let the National Assembly even lead the way by showing us where they want changes to happen in the Constitution, and Nigerians will take it from there.
Absolutely. All right, Bike, thank you so much for hanging out with us this beautiful Monday. Thank you so much.